The European Car Remarketing Association, or CARA for short, is the trade organization that represents companies in the remarketing value chain all across Europe. I'm here at the Fleet Europe Remarketing Summit, part of the Fleet Europe Days, with Luis Maria Perez Serrano, the chairman of CARA. Luis Maria, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank.
I would like to speak to you a bit about how CARA is doing and what you're doing differently, because CARA has been around for a decade, but you've been the chairman for about a year now.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a bit about what's been happening in that year under your leadership, under new management? What has changed?
Sure, very happy. Well, I mean, in the last 1 year, we have focused on mainly being more proactive and also being more visible to the market. I think that we had a good room for improvement there. That's why we've done that. But we are also increasing our cooperation with other associations, like, for example, with the Vehicle Remarketing Association in the UK or with SECRA in continental Europe. We have also improved our communication towards our member and also to our outside stakeholders. We have launched new initiatives, like the vehicle grading, for example, is something new that we are launching. But we have also further developed the existing initiatives, like, for example, the Battery Health Working Group. And I think that all these things are helping our members to adapt quicker and better to the changes that we have seen in the market.
Yes, we were talking just now before the interview about your membership, and that has improved. I think that's also part of the visibility, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're more visible and people want to join up.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is right. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about that battery health certification, because that's one of the main visible things I think that CARA does. And just for the people who are maybe less aware of what it is, it's not that CARA certifies the batteries, but you certify the certifiers. Am I right in that?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct, Fran. So at the end, we as organization set the standards for the industry. And then we certify the organizations that really check the batteries, not the batteries themselves. So this approach ensures consistency, transparency, and trust across the whole industry. And I think that is also very consistent with us as an association, because at the end, as an association, we are not interested, or it's not our mission to deliver the service itself, but it's more about empower the industry to develop solutions that will solve the problems and the challenges that we have already in the industry itself.
To just go into that a little bit more, can you tell me a bit about how many organizations have received that certification from you and what it means to them, what they can do with that?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. I mean, yesterday that we have our General Assembly, we announced that we have gained 2 new companies certified in the last 2 months. We have in total 6 companies already. They are all the leading companies in this kind of certifications, the kind of service in Europe. We even have 2 more that have applied to be certified, and we have 2 more with whom they are discussing if they are covering the requirements. So it's already a significant number, and this is really being successful because the customers now understand that it doesn't matter which of those companies they work with, because they can trust the result. And this is very important for the industry's reliability and predictability and transparency. So this is the main success of this case, I would say.
Exactly, because you are a non-profit organization, there's no benefit in it for you except for developing a standard that will benefit and lift the whole industry up.
Totally right. Totally right.
On the topic of electric vehicles, if you take apart, if you take the batteries to one side, what are the challenges that you see in the industry in terms of electric vehicle remarketing, and how is CARA helping to overcome those issues?
Yeah, I mean, EVs is still a very hot topic in the industry that is already ongoing. Battery check is helping a lot, but it's not the only challenge. It's not solving all the challenges that are around. I mean, one thing that we still see room for improvement or for consolidation is in terms of establishing fair residual values. This is still a challenging exercise nowadays. Also, I think that retraining staffs or our staffs in the new technologies, this is still a topic for many companies. And I think that also ensuring that buyers, B2B buyers, but also B2C buyers, so final buyers, they also get trustable and clear information about what they are buying. And this is still missing still today. What are we doing from Cara? Well, from the inspection perspective, we are promoting good practices on inspecting EVs that will provide the right information. We also are launching targeted education activities with our Cara Academy to support also people to better manage the EV topic. And also at the end, we try to improve communication to help customers understand the advantages and opportunities of buying an used EV, because sometimes we think we only look at the negative side, but there are many advantages and opportunities there, and we also want to make sure that those reach the public, you know.
Okay, you mentioned the Cara Academy. Can you explain a little bit what that is? Is it just for electric vehicle competences, or is it wider than that? And how do you access the Cara Academy?
Yeah, I mean, the Cara Academy is actually a project which aims at offering professional remarketing education to people who either they are already on the market and they want to improve their skills around the whole value chain of remarketing. So it's not only EVs. I mean, it really looks wider to all parts of the process. Or maybe even newcomers that they enter the sector and they want to really get trained there. We as Cara as organization, since we have the know-how and the members who really have the know-how, we develop the concept and then we put it available to the public, and then anyone can join. So
it's not just for Cara members.
It's not just for Cara members. I mean, our members are very eager to also participate and send their staff also there, but actually it's open to the industry, and it's the ambition is to offer that openly.
And are these like in-person trainings, or is this online, or is it both?
I mean, we are now relaunching the concept. That will be, I would say that along 2026, we will see the first courses coming to the market, but it's going to be fully digital, adapted to the new technologies that we can see nowadays in the latest training techniques.
Okay. Just now you also mentioned vehicle grading as a new topic for Cara. Can you just explain a little bit what that is? Because maybe some people will confuse it with the topic of wear and tear, which is a distinct issue. And sure. Explain what Cara is doing in this area.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks for that. Well, vehicle grading actually means assigning a standardized score or category to a vehicle's condition. Okay, so it's the aim is that this will help buyers and sellers to easier agree on the value based on the condition of a vehicle. Okay, and I think that is one of those things where I expect high success, because actually we are not really reinventing anything. We have seen this topic already succeeding and existing in other regions like the US, the UK, and Japan, and we have seen the results there. So actually the target now of Cara is to launch the European working group, where we can really look at those standards, see the best practices, and then adapt them to our market, and then implement them and roll them out relatively quickly. So it's one of those things that I think that we're going to see quick results.
Okay, because I think the issue is that gradings are used by separate companies and there's no universal standard. Is that the issue, or?
That's right. There is no standard at the market.
Right.
And, we cannot say that grading, I mean, there are different inspection processes, there are different standards, but there is not a vehicle, an European grading system that you can really use in a cross-border sales in a standardized way. This is missing.
Okay, so I see from vehicle grading and also from the battery certification where Cara can add value, which is by developing standards as a non-profit organization for the sector. Is there anything else in that along those lines that you're thinking about, maybe a bit further down in the future?
Well, there are many other topics that we are looking at. To be honest, we have a long list of topics that we would like to tackle in the future. But we also realized yesterday, to be honest, I mean, not yesterday, but we discussed very openly yesterday in the General Assembly that since we have doubled our number of members in the last 3 years, and we have this long list of topics that we want to tackle, it will be important also to launch probably during 2026 a new structure in our organization itself, to be more lean and to be more quick, fast, and have also additional resources. So we are already rethinking that. That is something that is going to happen in early 2026, I think.
Okay.
And that will really allow us to tackle more topics. I mean, I can name in-car data is still a topic where, for example, with the introduction of the European Union Data Act, is going to affect us a lot, and we want to make a good use of that. Or some people also approach me today and say, hey, maybe we should also look at the compound business, how we can also create a setting standard there, that we clarify expectations from customers and suppliers. There are a long list of topics that we want to take care of in the future.
Okay, maybe one other topic on that list is sustainability. Of course, remarketing is inherently sustainable because we are reusing assets rather than buying new ones that have to have new material put into it. So that's actually, that was a lightning bolt when I first heard it, because I don't think that's the story that vehicle remarketers tell too often or too well. So is that something that Cara is also wanting to make some progress on?
Yeah, that is right. And I think that you described it perfectly. I mean, if you really think about it, it's true. I mean, remarketing is pure circular economy. This is the definition of remarketing at the end. And I think that so far we have not explained that properly. So what we would like to do in the future is to share more data and also more best practices, so that the industry itself understand what is our contribution to sustainability overall.
Yes.
And then, of course, we don't want to stay there. We want to go one step forward and then see, okay, how we could also, in our processes, share best practices to also reduce or improve the impact that we have on the sustainable topics in the overall. So we want to look at it in the different perspectives. But I think that communication will be definitely one of them.
Yes. One of the things that about improving the processes to make them more sustainable is a term that I heard that's called green logistics. What can I imagine when I hear green logistics? Is it transport by train rather than truck, or I don't know?
Well, I mean, there are several initiatives. I don't think there is a single definition, a unique definition for that. But at the end, I think that technology nowadays offers us lots of possibilities to rethink logistics. And we have among our members some logistic companies that are already making good things over there. And I think it has to do a lot with digitalization. We're using all the data that we have available to improve and optimize routes, for example. So I think that there are many opportunities to improve our footprint there.
Okay. Luis Maria, last question. You mentioned already that you had the General Assembly yesterday. You have more members than ever. You also mentioned that there's going to be some changes to tackle more topics. Can you share a little bit about the concrete steps or the directions that Cara is going to take in that respect?
I think it's not the right moment yet, because we are still discussing about it in the assembly. So we have to take the final decisions yet. So it's a little bit, let's keep it confidential for the moment.
Very good. Maybe the very last question. So membership is growing. What would you say to companies that are considering joining Cara, and what would you do to get them across the line?
Well, that's a very good question, Frank. Thank you for that. No, I mean, I think that we have a lot of members who are really at the forefront of the industry. We also have a lot of other companies that are maybe newcomers as well. We have also good representation from the different parts of the value chain of remarketing, but we still have a lot still to cover. So I would say that if there are companies out there, and I know that they are, who are willing to support the industry and to help create the standards and to debate and learn together with the other members about how they can also professionalize and improve their business, I would say that they are, all of them, welcome to join, and we will be very happy to have them on board.
Fantastic. I hope your telephone doesn't stop ringing. Luis Maria, thank you so much for this interview, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you.